What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. Hope you're all doing well. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. This is episode 43 of the Cleveland Pulse podcast, and we have a roundup of free agency news that has happened so far for the Cleveland Browns. Running through it really quickly, we'll list it off from where it started to where it's at to this point. First, John Johnson III, safety from the LA Rams. Then Takk McKinley, DN pass rusher from the Falcons, essentially. And then a couple of in-house moves with re-signing Malcolm Smith at linebacker, the veteran presence there. Then getting Jeff's probably favorite move, re-signing Rashard Higgins for a year, and also re-signing JoJo Natson as punt and kick returner, also some wide receiver depth. And we have some players leaving. Larry Ogunjobi going to the Cincinnati Bengals, Terrence Mitchell going to the Houston Texans, Tavierre Thomas also going to the Houston Texans, and I think Tay Davis, another Browns, going to the Houston Texans. Might as well make him the Houston Browns at this point. Lots of moves, kind of slow still though, not as many as this time last year. But Jeff, what are you thinking about all this stuff?
I'm just excited that it's all going on. I mean, I think it's been a great past couple of days. Me and you probably can agree about that. Andrew Berry's GM grade just keeps getting better and better as far as I'm concerned. He's done a great job once again, and it's I honestly don't even think the biggest move has happened. Maybe I think John Johnson III is probably arguably your biggest move just because how bad the defense was, the secondary was last year. And I mean, talk about a great guy we're picking up, just looking at his stats, just some unreal numbers. And, what I really liked about that move is that Jalen Ramsey immediately on Twitter, Browns got a good one. So, it's someone who's in that defense, one of the better star defensive players around the league, Jalen Ramsey, giving credits to Mr. Johnson. So, I mean, that's all I could say is what a great move from Andrew Berry on that part.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the biggest move and the most expensive move that we make for this offseason. Obviously, everything else is going to probably be under that $10 million a year. I don't see any deal being more than $8 million. Potentially, the only chance that could have is maybe if you go out and sign a Malcolm Butler at corner for maybe $8 million. But besides that, at this point in the process, I think you're just signing guys to potentially be depth players, or maybe hopefully you would hope that with losing Terrence Mitchell, you go out and you get someone at the same quality. Adoree Jackson has been rumored out there, and Garen Conley, a former Ohio State Buckeye, being rumored to be potential replacements for Terrence. And then hopefully you get in there with a linebacker, maybe a starting linebacker. The rumor right now is Anthony Walker is having a visit for the Browns. Very solid tackler, one of the top rated linebackers when it came to tackling percentage by PFF standards, who would essentially just be the replacement for a BJ Goodson in that role. So a lot of good moves. Honestly, no one's going to top the John Johnson move in terms of what the Browns do at this point. I don't think there's anyone on my list besides Quan Alexander that I really want anymore, or Malcolm Butler, I suppose. But neither one of those two is to the level of the John Johnson signing. I think it's interesting, though, to look at who we've re-signed. Malcolm Smith, returning to be that veteran presence. I think that means BJ Goodson is probably gone, or they're still doing what they did with Rashard and letting him feel out his market if he has a market. Probably not. I would assume not, because I don't have a very high opinion about him, but who knows? I could be wrong about that. But a lot of these moves, I think, have just been made in terms of thinking for the future. And I think at this point, we're going to roll cap to the next season and have that cap for guys that we're going to sign as, the core: Baker, Chubb, Wyatt Teller, Denzel Ward, and all that. What do you think about that? Would you be okay if at this point we just went into the draft with the people that we have?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we have, we do have a first rounder. So I think we've done, like I said, a great job so far. We get that big key piece that we were missing on defense. And then we sign a minor guy like Takk, but
a guy with a lot of potential.
Yeah. Like you said in your reaction video, low risk, high reward seemingly. And just Andrew Berry's kind of going with this theme where it's like he's going around and looking for people that could, help us tackle, it seems like. I mean, John Johnson last year with 105 combined tackles, 73 solo tackles for a safety. So, I mean, and this linebacker that we're looking at today, he's, like you said, he seemed like a good tackler too. It sounds like Tack's going to help in the run game. He could. So I think that was a big part of when you looked at the stats, the analytics, the data, whatever from our defense last year. Not only was it, optically very poor, we just couldn't tackle either.
Yeah, being a bottom 10, I think is generous. Being a bottom 10-5 defense, obviously you can improve in almost every facet of the game. I think we were very fortunate with some of the takeaways that we got. I think takeaways was one of our better stats, but when we weren't getting takeaways, we were losing the majority of the games that we played in because of tackling and coverage. But to the point that you were talking about with Anthony Walker and with John Johnson, both those guys this past year have had more tackles than anyone on our team. And Anthony Walker the year before had 124 combined tackles, which is insane for, just in any number. He's not a great coverage linebacker, which was my point about him being the replacement for BJ Goodson. But who knows, with going to a new defense, maybe he gets better at that. But obviously not the star of that Indianapolis Colts linebacking core, but would be a solid pickup for sure. Quan Alexander, the only reason I continue to bring his name up is because he was with Joe Woods in that 2020 season where they went on to go and play in the Super Bowl. I just thought that there would be a connection there. For me, I think at this point, I need to sign at least one more linebacker, whether it be a depth player or a potential starter, and I need to sign a cornerback because we've lost Tavier and Terrence Mitchell. However, I do remember that we still have AJ Green, who was a pretty highly touted undrafted free agent from last year who kind of sat behind a lot of guys. So I think there's potential for him to maybe move up the ranks there, but probably need one more corner before we go into the draft. Otherwise, the good majority of our picks will probably be defensive centered and not, we still need a couple of offensive linemen and maybe some other moves on the offensive side. But besides that, I honestly think that Andrew Berry, if you combine last year and this year, I think he's, in that A range. No, I don't think there's B plus. I think it's A- to A+ range. And he's doing a really good thing with the guys that he's getting. He's kind of getting guys at their, 27, 28, 29 range, 27, 28, 26 range. They're coming off of rookie contracts and stuff, and they've shown potential and everything. This Anthony Walker has not missed a game, and maybe that's why they haven't really been active with the whole Quan Alexander thing at this point, trying to keep guys on the field and be active and be a part of the active roster and all that. So, but besides that, phenomenal job so far. I'm really liking the fact that the Browns seem like they're retaining players and they're retaining the key players, obviously. And the two big teams in the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously just losing guys left and right. That team looks decimated at this point. And then the Ravens really haven't made a very splashy move. They went out and got the right guard, Kevin Zeitler, from the Giants, and that was their one and only move. And they've lost a couple of defensive pieces too. So the Browns improving, Ravens, Steelers declining. I like it.
Yeah, that's just, that's the product of having money to spend and having a guy that could spend it correctly as well as draft correctly. But I mean, everything you said, 100% correct. Cornerbacks, little thin right now, actually very extremely thin just because of how the injury, track record is with guys like Greedy Williams, obviously, and even Denzel Ward. So right. I honestly think that should probably be the next point to be addressed by Andrew Berry. I know they want a linebacker. We need both, but I mean, at this point, I mean, either one's good, but I just really like, he's been a very thematic general manager. We keep our offense together. You know, maybe it wasn't a smart move. Maybe it was paying David Njoku. I'm totally okay with it. He's a good run blocker. He's one of our 3 tight ends that, you know, performed very well last year. And Higgins is coming back along with, you know, Odell Beckham Jr. coming off of, you know, looking good, rehabbing from an injury. So our whole offense, the offense is there. This is your second year. This is your second full year with Stefanski. Hopefully this is your first offseason. It's literally the exact same offense as last year. So, you know, even with added pieces, OBJ not playing, you know, the full year, which I really like.
Very unprecedented situation for the Browns to be in, where they retain
A
key
couple.
offensive players, and this is the first time where there's no head coaching change, no offensive coordinator change, and you know, could be a very scary year for opposing defenses with everything that's happening here. But I agree with you. The David Njoku situation, I know people were kind of upset with like how he, I guess, reacted. But besides that, like, I think it's a great move. I think it's, you know, important to notice that he really did develop into a really good run blocker last year. I know that was a knock on him before the year started, and he still ended up going out there doing really well in the passing game and in the run blocking game. So Higgins, obviously a fan favorite. You were going on about it. Me and you had a text exchange about keeping him and everything, and that being one of your big priorities. So good for that. I think, you know, Larry, I'm upset that Larry went to Cincinnati of all places. It seems like a weird move for him.
They're lost down there. What are they doing? Don't they need linemen? They haven't signed one guy to protect Joe Burrow. Oh my God.
You draft those guys, but I don't know. I agree with you, but Browns are making the right decisions, not even big moves, but the right decisions, and that's what matters. And I'm here for it. So
John Johnson's he's already one of my favorite players on the team. He hasn't even played a game. He hasn't stepped on the field. But just for me and you to be fans, like I just don't think how people like of the last 12 months, like how unprecedented like it's been for this organization. This guy literally willingly has said within like the past 2 days that he was offered more money and said no to come to the Browns because he liked the culture. Like that hasn't happened. That's unprecedented.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, the way that it's heading and players recognizing the fact that we're in that mode. The Browns are in that mode of we're no longer on the fringe team. We're no longer a mediocre team for the past the year before, or the 3 years before the past season, mediocre team at best. And now we're in that phase where we're going up against Kansas City Chiefs in a game that could lead us to the championship. And it's big, it's huge, and it's exciting time. So, but Jeff, unless you got anything else, I think that's all we got for now.
Nope, I'm all good. And Andrew Berry, we trust.
And Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, we trust. Thank you all for watching. If you guys haven't seen our videos in the past of us covering John Johnson signing and everything like that, please go subscribe to the channel. Go watch those videos. Leave likes, leave comments. Give us your thoughts on those signings and such, and give us your thoughts on everything that's happened so far. We will be trying to keep you guys updated on everything that's happening. As soon as news breaks, we'll try to get a video uploaded about what we think or just the news in general. But like I said, subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff would be appreciated, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.